This is NDDC Today.
Good evening. It's a great country in which we live. Sometimes things will seem to be in a turmoil, but before you know it, they settle down and business as usual. So there's been a very great flurry of activities recently in the past, 3 or 4 weeks about the NDDC and the Interim Management Committee. All that has cooled down now, and the committee is about doing its work, that of preparing the ground for the forensic audit of the NDDC.
If you recall, the governors of the South or the Niger Delta states went to visit the president, led by Governor Dixon of Bayelsa State. And you'd also recall that Mr. President, His Excellency, said that first he would act in compliance with the act setting up the NDDC, that he would not. And we all know that the President is still under oath to respect every section of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now he says that he will act strictly in compliance of that act, setting up the Niger Delta Development Commission. He also said that he has directed that a forensic audit be carried out. Well, for the audit, we're not going to do the audit ourselves. We're going to get firms that are highly reputable. The adverts are on. They are actually going to carry out the audits. We would just be supervising. We have no direct roles to play. So there's no issue of being biased. We would just make sure everything runs smoothly. And our role also would be that we would be able to run the commission whilst this is going on. I'm very grateful that most contractors have gone back. We now have about 57 contractors that have gone back to site, and I'm encouraging everyone to go back to site so that things will be done properly, and then you get your money if you've actually executed your jobs. We're looking at rural development, and for me, it's about rural development. We're trying to make sure to see how quickly we can get water, if possible, before Christmas. It might just be a tall order, but for every village, we've asked all our directors in all the states to come up with a list of villages. Let's try to see how we can use existing infrastructure to get water to everyone who's there. No big contracts. Get the locals who are plumbers to try to see how they can get the monopumps and all to work. Why am I so passionate? Because I've been in this struggle forever. I know most people who died in this struggle. I had personal relationships with them. I participated in the struggle. And it hurts me so badly that people can make blood money on the soul of the people of the Niger Delta.
The acting managing director of the NDDC, the head of the Interim Management Committee, in place to see that the NDDC is positioned to carry out what the federal government now has mandated it to do. The interest of the rural populace and the fact that the NDDC should design some of its projects to more favorably focus on the rural populace. In this regard, as you saw a couple of weeks ago, we featured how the Interim Management Committee paid a courtesy visit to the governor of Rivers State to ask for his support and to express solidarity over a couple of the projects that are happening in Rivers State. In the same guise, the committee has recently paid a courtesy call on the Abia State Governor, Dr. Okezie Ikpeazu, also to see what his thoughts were on the NDDC and how they can partner and, most importantly, monitor the many projects, NDDC projects, that exist in Abia State. In a bid to foster an enduring and good working relationship with the governors and stakeholders of the oil-bearing regions of Nigeria, the Interim Management Committee of the Niger Delta Development Commission, led by the Acting Managing Director, Gbene Joi Nunieh, recently paid a courtesy visit to the Governor of Abia State, Dr. Okezie Ikpeazu. She was accompanied on this trip by the Executive Director of Finance and Administration, Chief Ibanga Bassing Etang, directors of the Commission, and the spokesperson of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Okezie Kalu. Welcoming the delegation, Governor Ikpeazu expressed his excitement on the appointment of Dr. Nunieh, whom he described as a courageous and fearless woman that can sanitize the operations of the NDDC.
I know that we have the capacity to deal with the issues as they come, and we pray for them that God Almighty give you the courage to deal with it. It doesn't matter who's answers God, because somebody has to speak out at some time in history, and I commit to giving you all the kind of support that you require.
Ikpeazu encouraged the Interim Management Committee to intensify its efforts to constructively partner with all stakeholders to fashion out the kind of projects that can positively impact on the lives of the people of the oil-producing communities.
I think we need to do something that takes it beyond me or anybody for that matter. How we select projects, do due diligence and do socio-economic impacts of those projects on the people as it well.
The Abia State Governor called on the NDDC to understand and appreciate the needs of the oil-bearing communities and avoid politically motivated projects that will not positively impact on the socio-economic lives of the Niger Delta people. Earlier, the Acting Managing Director of the NDDC handed over a list of 633 NDDC projects to the Governor, including completed, ongoing, and stalled or abandoned projects in Abia State to avoid duplication of projects.
So this list is very important. I hand it over to you. Give it to your infrastructure person, say Commissioner for Works, Water, and let them just go through. You'll be shocked, maybe, or maybe not, what we'll find. And we'll be waiting to hear from you and to work with you on what this list will turn out for.
Dr. Nunieh regretted that the award of scholarships to the privileged persons at the expense of those that actually needed such opportunities was among the various ways that past management of the NDDC had vitiated the noble intentions of the intervention agency. And she noted that the IMC has put a stop to that.
And my mind tells me that it's better to empower the rural dwellers. You know, God is very particular about the poor and those who live in these communities. Before, the NDDC would give scholarship to 200 politicians, children, or associates to go abroad. But we have changed that. We'd rather give 5,000 rural children scholarships within Nigeria, and we'll touch more lives.
The NDDC CEO stressed that the Interim Management Committee had a mandate to sanitize the Commission and help set up the stage for the forensic audit as ordered by President Buhari.
I can assure you that there will be no cover-ups by our management because we have the mandate of Mr. President to go sanitize the Commission, and he will decide on what to do with the commissions. And most of all, Mr. President is particular about the development of the
rural communities.
The spokesperson of the House of Representatives and member of the House Committee on NDDC, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, in his own remark, noted that the federal lawmakers backed Mr. President's decision to appoint an interim management to run the affairs of the NDDC.
We believe we are three arms of government, yet we are one government. Though the purpose of separation of power allows us to put in the checks and balances, it is only when it is needed, not when an action has been taken by the executive within the parameters of the enabling laws. And that is why we are standing with Mr. President on this, and we are saying it is high time we clean up NDDC and get things right.
It was a carnival atmosphere when the IMC NDDC team visited Agbamuzu community in Gbene local government of Abia State. Everybody trooped out to welcome the team, of course taking their own position that they were happy that the NDDC is now considering the lot of the rural populace, asking that the NDDC should be more involved in projects that should concern them. The team was welcomed at the entrance of the community by several men, women, and youth cultural groups, with traditional dancers as they waved solidarity banners. At the grand reception for the acting managing director of the NDDC and her team, Gbene Joi Nunieh informed the community that the interim management committee of the NDDC, as set up by President Buhari, was in their area to inspect the Commission's projects and prepare the ground for the forensic audit.
You must have heard Mr. President talk about revamping the NDDC. He's very particular about the rural dwellers, and so we were asked to come to oversee the runnings of the NDDC and of course to superintend over a forensic audit.
The NDDC CEO declared that all NDDC trainings for the youth in the Niger Delta will henceforth have international certification to enable NDDC trainees get better jobs and placements anywhere in the world.
I want to say that part of the next level NDDC is that we don't just do training and give you a certificate of attendance that you can never use to work anywhere. From now, anytime the NDDC is having any form of training, we'll make sure you have international certification, such as city and guilds. We'll pay for your exams so that anywhere in the world you can work.
Dr. Nunieh advised the Niger Delta youths to stay in their communities and assist in the development process of the Niger Delta, noting that the NDDC will now concentrate on taking development to the grassroots. She also encouraged women to take active part in socio-economic activities in and around their communities.
So I want all women to stand up for your communities. For the Ogoni struggle, I was very prominent, and I think that is what made my people to honor me. So I want to call on all the young women, stand up, contribute, participate, and give back to Gbene, my new community.
In his remarks, Honorable Benjamin Okezie Kalu assured the interim management committee of the NDDC of the support of the Federal House of Representatives in its quest to revamp the operations and activities of the Commission to positively transform the Niger Delta region.
I want to assure you that the legislative arm that I speak for in the House of Representatives, that we are standing with Mr. President in appointing this lady to help sanitize NDDC. Because it is the mandate, constitutional mandate of Mr. President to appoint anybody he wants, either in interim capacity or acting capacity or whatever capacity or permanent capacity.
The NDDC repositioning to perform better. The change agents are in place. The task has begun, reassessing priorities.
We're looking at rural development, and for me, it's about rural development.
We must do what is right. Whatever has been done wrong, we must correct it from here.
The president insists that every penny spent on any project in the Niger Delta must be well accounted for.
Identifying no-go areas.
We're not going to pay anybody 1 billion naira every month. I mean, that is wicked. 1 billion every month can put monopumps in rural communities in the Niger Delta, can buy books, can set up the primary health centers. Why would anyone do that?
Setting the standards.
And so I'm calling on all Niger Deltans to stand up to protect our region.
The support is getting broad-based.
But we really want to assure you guys that I think I will support you.
We're going to give you every support that you need.
Take it serious and carry out the proper audit of NDDC.
We want to make people see the NDDC as a social, responsible corporate entity in the interest of the people of Niger Delta.
This is the dream of the people of the Niger Delta.
The NDDC repositioning to perform better. After inspecting some of the projects, the IMC told some contractors who obviously had not done what they were supposed to do to either ship up or ship out. The Commission has warned contractors working for it to brace up and discharge their obligations fully, as the Commission will no longer pay for jobs that are not verified and certified. The warning came from the NDDC Acting Managing Director while inspecting projects which included the multi-billion erosion control project in Gbene local government area of Abia State, erosion control, solar water, and a health center. Dr. Nunieh was accompanied by the legislator representing Gbene Federal Constituency, a member of the Committee on NDDC and Chairman Media and Publicity of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Okezie Kalu.
Too many people having IPCs disturbing us with calls about payments, but there are no projects. So I always wonder when they say completed. And these are the things that people are going to get into trouble with. Because if I paid for this road now, and during the audit we come here and there's no road, nobody will believe that I didn't know. And that is why Mr. President was visibly angry about trillions that have been spent in the NDDC without anything.
Nunieh stressed the need to intensify the efforts of the Commission with respect to supervision and inspection to facilitate the speedy completion of ongoing projects in the 9 states covered by the NDDC.
We, as interim management, we want to participate, we want to see things for ourselves, come and ascertain the real situation. We want to get closer to the people who live in these communities. We are not people who dress up and sit in our offices. We are here to meet our people because we live in our communities and we are close to our people.
Inspecting the erosion control works at Gbene Road in Umuahia, Nunieh expressed displeasure over the slow pace of work on the project and ordered that the NDDC consultant be relieved of his duties for not being firm in dealing with the contractor. The NDDC team also inspected the Isieke Ajata Road being threatened by erosion in Umuahia North local government area, where Nunieh said she was worried that the project appeared to have been abandoned. At the Etiti Ulo Road, the NDDC boss expressed shock at what she described as a very deplorable road and being recorded as completed, when it may not have been done at all.
This road, certificate,
there is no mistake.
Certificate has been issued as completed. It's part of those roads where IPCs and everybody did. So my advice is that all those who send us IPCs for payment should ensure that those who give them those IPCs. Now this one is saying completed. It has not even been started.
Nothing. They removed even the one we are managing.
What you see that was there before was a road built in 1976 by MCC.
Other projects inspected by the NDDC team were the completed solar water project at Ndiwo Etobuaza in Gbene, which was not functional, and a similar one at Etiti Ulo, as well as a health center in Nunkalaku. The NDDC boss decried the poor state of the health facility and charged the Commission's Directorate for Health and Social Services to take measures to reactivate the health center, insisting that all abandoned projects would be revamped and completed.
And I want to say to this community that this is an emergency. I want to promise this community that as I go back from next week, they will come and do evaluation of just thank you.
One major project of concern on this working tour to Abia State was the Ohaku-Aba Road, a road that links several communities with Aba, the commercial nerve center of Abia State. Now, this is a 46-kilometer road, so vital to the state, and also of great concern to the governor. The Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, has pledged to complete the 46-kilometer road linking several communities in Ukwa East local government area of Abia State to the commercial city of Aba. The NDDC Managing Director, Gbene, Dr. Joi Nunieh, who made the promise while inspecting the Ohaku-Aba Road, stalled at Indiegoro community, assured that the projects would be tackled as a matter of urgency.
You can see this is truly an emergency. The people have been completely cut off from Aba and from everywhere else. And here we have high density area where loads of people reside. There's no way they can leave this place. They have to drive like 3 hours before they get to the next city.
The NDDC boss assured that the commission was determined to get all communities in the Niger Delta, particularly the oil-producing areas, working again.
I want to assure the people of this community that they are part of Nigeria. They have not committed any offense by having oil in their community. The fact that you are an oil-producing community, you are supposed to be enjoying the cake. This national cake should get to them. So we are here on the President's instructions to ensure that the people feel they are part of it. He's been very worried about the rural dwellers and those living in the oil-producing communities. So in the next level, NDDC, we will ensure that this road is done very quickly for the people as an emergency.
Thousands of residents of the community trooped out on sighting the NDDC inspection team to express their desire for urgent intervention, which had earlier been highlighted by the Abia State governor. Dr. Ikpeazu had told the NDDC team during a courtesy visit to address the challenges that had delayed the completion of the Ohaku-Aba Road.
That Ohaku Road connects two local governments, Aba South and Ohaku in Upper East. And from there you can head on to Port Harcourt. Irrespective of how strategic this road is been under the claws and jaws of NDDC 8 years before I came.
Now, a fallout of the visit to Abia State is that the government there has already set up a committee to monitor all the NDDC projects in Abia State. A welcome move that should put every contractor on their toes. Well, we'll be on our toes every week to tell you what the NDDC is up to and, make you follow the development strides of the commission. And as we'll always say, your comments are very welcome because no one can do this job alone. all suggestions from all corners, particularly those who are directly involved and touched by NDDC's projects and efforts, your inputs are very necessary. So don't hesitate. Our numbers are on the screen to call us, and whatever you say, we pass on to those who matter. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you the same time next week. Bye for now.